You're looking at a very new electric car for Malaysia. Very, very new. This was launched just weeks ago. The logo is just a X. Now, what does X stand for? It's basically Xpeng. Xpeng is from China, obviously. It's a handsome vehicle from all sides. Very, very handsome. It's almost an evergreen shape. If you look at it closely, it is something that's not going to be, how you say, boring in years to come. In fact, the more I look at it, the more I think, hey, 10 years from now, it'll still be quite fresh in the showroom. And it starts with having very slim headlamps and daytime running lights, larger lamps here, also unidirectional. This is not a grille, it's an electric car. This is more for airflow and a design feature. But it's the X logo that interests me. Why? Because this electric car has been selling in Europe for a few years right now and very successful. Now, if a China-made electric car can go to Europe and be successful, it just says a few things. It says that the Europeans have seen this car, accepted its design, accepted its technology, accepted its software, and more importantly, they're happy to live with a car from China. So obviously, I'm going to tell you to go to the showroom to get more details on this new Xpeng electric car, the G6. But let me show you some interesting things. Flush door handles, as you can see. Flush door handles. The Xpeng name here, of course. Just like any other car, you pull the door handle, it opens up the car. Your charging port is here, opens up nicely. Everything is automated with electric cars. So they've got a lot of tech in the car. To close it, you just press a button. You come to the rear, press a button, and the boot open up. Now, I want to mention a little bit of history on this car. Xpeng is a brand that was started by two gentlemen in China, two technology people, not car people, not people who build cars or whatever, but they did come with experience from a very established car brand in China, big conglomerate. I won't mention who they are, but they were there. And 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, these two gentlemen said, hey, I think the both of us will be able to put together a really nice electric car. So they came up with the brand Xpeng, which is a combination of the names, and they got funding. And today they are exporting to countries in Europe. They're doing very well. And I think this is very impressive because if you think about it, in 10 years, they've managed to build up credibility in Europe and of course now in Asia with a very interesting product like this. First things first, Xpeng will give you a nice little case to put your charging cable in. I like this. They don't just give you a charging cable. They give you a case. Underneath, you have all your necessary toolkit and everything else. But there's a little space for you to keep some stuff. You have a decent size boot. Right? Speakers here. Premium speakers here. Of course, you got speakers in front. The car is laden with speakers. The sound system is a premium sound system. So you get a pretty wide boot because this is a big car. If you look at it in a parking lot, it's actually quite a big vehicle. It's almost the size, or maybe slightly bigger, than the Tesla Model Y. It may not be as tall, but in terms of width and length and cabin space, I think it's better than the Tesla Model Y. And of course, earlier we were already talking about the tech and everything else. And if you want to get even more space, just a quick click like that, and immediately everything falls down, and you got this huge luggage space if you need it. Okay, you've got a power socket here if you need to, use some item, or maybe you're, going camping, or maybe you're just, chilling out. So let me put back that seat, show you how easy it is. And the seat is up. So with the Xpeng G6, you also get, very interesting to note, pillarless doors. Now, why are pillarless doors important? No, it's just that a lot of premium cars used to come with pillarless doors, and a lot of people say, hey, I like pillarless doors, because when the power window is down, it looks nice and clean. But that's just personal preference. Like we mentioned, to open the door and close the door, just a button. So if you're inside the car, you just press a button and the door opens. These are just little features that elevates the presence of this G6. Come on this side, and if you look inside the cabin, it's a very nice, clean cabin. Electric seats, plush leatherette material, like I said. You got nice, soft headrest. Now, why I like to emphasize the word soft is because in our old tired bodies and bones, this is actually very much more comfortable than hard seats. And I appreciate it. You got a little space here to put something small, power outlets. And of course, you can see a screen here. If you get to the back, you'll notice there's a lot of leg room. Now, I'm the average Malaysian size, 5.6, 5 feet 6 inches, tall. Not bad. Now, if there's a second me to sit right in the middle, still not too bad. And if there's a third me, still not too bad. So 3 average adults in the back, not a problem, which means this is a proper 5-seater with very decent headroom to get in and out. So you don't see us struggling to get in and out. Nice and clean entry-exit. 20-inch wheels. This is the standard spec of the vehicle. You don't have a little chart to go and tick extras. It already comes fully loaded like this at 165,000. So let's take it for a drive to see whether it's going to give the competition from China a real run for their money. Now, just as we are finishing up our little explanation in the booth, you heard the wind blower going in the park next door, right? Really noisy, right? So the wind blower is still running. Can you focus on the wind blower there? The guy who's running it, okay? Now, you hardly hear it now when we're inside this car, inside the Xpeng. Why? This means that the insulation, sound insulation, build quality is really plush in this Xpeng G6, to the point where something as noisy as that is only a slight murmur as you're sitting in this car. This is what we call build quality and sound insulation superb. This is where, when you're on the road, you won't hear those irritating motorcycles zooming past you and cars with loud exhaust. This is where also you start appreciating really good sound system that comes with this car. So, what does the driver get in this Xpeng G6? The first thing you'll notice is how interesting they've laid out the interior to be user-friendly. I'll say the word user-friendly because I've been using this Xpeng G6 for the last few days, and I think it's quite user-friendly. Yes, a lot of electric cars have similar feature, but let's talk about this one. Number one, even though you have a large rectangular screen, it is still way below the eye line of the edge of the front bonnet, which is very important because when you're sitting and driving in a car, you want to have a clear view of the exterior of the car, so you know where you're going. Some screens tend to be too high. This is really well thought out. Now, then you have a driver instrument panel right here, which has got all the necessary information. For me, if you're driving an electric car, the most necessary information is how much battery you got. Here it says 77%, and I can go 438 kilometers. Same information is up here. Then of course you got your what gear shifter you're in, whether you're park, drive, and all that. But that's not really important. Then aircon vents. Aircon vents are positioned just right, and they face the driver. The one at the bottom here can go right to the back or right to the driver, because why? Let me show you this interesting feature. You can actually get the direction of air flowing just by using the system on the car. You can switch it off, switch it on, switch it on, and you can direct the air. Can you see that? Direct the air up or down. So what they've done is removing all the little functions for physical buttons on this car. Everything runs through the screen. You go into car settings, you get everything there, right down to even your trunk, your window adjustment, your charging port, of course, your lights, how you want your lights to work, your seat adjustments, your drive, whether you want to go standard or sport, or individual. Now, all this means this central command, I'll call it central command, is able to help you do whatever you want to do. Plus, you have, hey Xpeng,
Hey there.
direct me to the nearest charging station.
Okay, where do you want to go?
So it gives us, so which one? So we can choose. You see, it's giving us options to choose in terms of places to charge, all very close by, depending on what kind of charging you want to do, and whether you want to work with a you might have a preference in terms of charging stations or charging provider, but it's available. It gives you everything. So this assistant seems to understand exactly what I'm saying. Hey Xpeng, switch on the radio.
Okay.
And the radio is on. So you have a voice assistant, of such, which a lot of other electric cars have also, and even some ICE cars. But Xpeng has given you one that looks quite reasonable, and maybe you can play around and later upgrade it to a different voice setting or whatever. So you got navigation. You got a lot of tech in here. If I want to go through it and show it to you, it's going to take a few hours. Everything is available: Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Spotify, you got Bluetooth, you got the music, you got the air conditioning, you got everything. Everything that you need is here and more. Okay, so like I said, you got everything right on the screen. You can see what I'm doing. You can play around with it to adjust it to what you like, or what you prefer. It even tells you your drive cycle, how far you've gone. I've done a total of 137 kilometers since taking the car. I've not driven it outstation yet. It's all in town. So, putting this aside, we talk about quality. First of all, you get a steering wheel that's not round. It's almost a flat bottom, flat top, something a little bit unusual. Yes, there are some European manufacturers that have it also. You got your charging trays here, you got your cup holders, you've got a deep console here. So if you got something to keep away, you got a premium sound system. This is a premium sound system that comes with the car. Stock controls. And then suddenly you look around and you realize that the interior of this car, they've taken a lot of elements from its immediate competitor, which is the Tesla Model Y. In terms of even the look of this car, a lot of it, in terms of space, width, height, size of the wheels and everything else, very similar to the Tesla Model Y. Yet, with a driving distance of more than 500 over kilometers, because when we got this car fully charged, it was 535 kilometers, but we've traveled 137 because we've been very diligent in driving in eco mode, not really speeding all the time. I will tell you, at 165,000 ringgit in Malaysia, this Xpeng G6, for what you get, a plush interior, soft leatherette seats, nice material finish on the dashboard, on the roof lining, a full-size sunroof, great software entertainment system, plus technology. And then you see Tesla is charging 50, 60, 70,000 ringgit more. So why would you want to pay that 60, 70,000 ringgit more when you got this Xpeng G6 at 165,000, giving you much more at much lower selling price? So the next question is, how does it drive? Let's go for a drive, and then I will share with you a little bit of the driving dynamics and features of this Xpeng G6. But before that, let me show you how the door opens. It's a simple button here. There's no handle. You just press a little button here and the door opens. So we start driving the Xpeng G6, and from the word go, from ignition, you realize that this car is just well built, it's plush, it's quiet, it's got nice material feel all around the car, like I said earlier, which means all your touch and feel points, you don't feel like you've been shortchanged, even though the price is just 165,000 ringgit. I got to emphasize that because why? There's a lot of bits and pieces in the car when you look around you that feels and looks much more premium than even cars, electric cars, costing twice as much. So how did Xpeng manage to do this? Now, the two guys that started Xpeng, of course, they got funding and everything else, but in 10 years, they've been able to deliver a plush, premium electric car with 500 over kilometers of driving distance on a full charge. And this, the kind of tech they provided, I mean, these guys are from the tech industry, but it's just amazing what you get. And we are now in sports mode. I'm just going to show you how it accelerates. Now that's enough. We're on public roads. We shouldn't be driving very fast. I just wanted to show you the kind of response you get. Now, if you think that you want more power, yes, there are some electric cars that will do the 0 to 100 sprint in a faster time. They will, they deliver mid-range torque that's even better than this. But do you need it? You're driving in the city all day long. The whole idea of driving an electric car is to save fuel, save emissions. Now, saving fuel means when you charge a car, you're charging with what? Fuel, right? Diesel fuel. Because you're going to TNB charging power supply, power provider, So let's not kid ourselves, Let's not be thinking about how fast you can go, how wonderfully, this car accelerates and all that. It's fast enough. Most important thing is how you want to live your life if you say you want to live with an electric car. So that was sports mode. I'm not going to go into politics of electric car ownership right now. I want to go back to eco mode because that's the mode I like to drive my electric cars in. Because if you're driving an electric car, you are making a statement. Your statement should be true to yourself. Eco mode, try and get the best out of the battery. Try and do your minimum charging at home, and be conscious about all this, Don't just say you want to be, conscious about emissions and climate change and all that. Okay, enough. So, even in eco mode, this car performs rather well. It never feels sluggish. It never feels like it's, not enough power. There is enough power even in eco mode. So you can leave it in eco mode and just drive. If you need extra acceleration, it delivers. See? If not, you just drive it like a normal car. And that's the beauty about some electric cars and this Xpeng G6. They are able to deliver a commuter car that once in a while can give you some excitement. So, you just saw that. Look at how beautiful that screen is. So when you put on your signal, that comes on to show you what's at the side of you. If you're going the other side, it shows you the other side. So now it's showing on the right hand side. Can you see it? Make sense? Yes. And it's very, very high definition, which means even at night you have very clear view. and you know what's left or right as long as you engage the signal light. So seating for 5, comfortable. Ride comfort, pretty good, because this is not a speed demon machine. This is a nice, plush, luxury electric car. Yet, I have to keep saying it, 165,000 ringgit. That sounds like a very reasonable price for what you get. It corners very well, riding on the 20-inch wheels. Nice balance. It holds its line well. Ticks all the boxes. Ladies and gentlemen, it ticks all the boxes if you're looking for electric car today. Design-wise, I would say evergreen, very modern, very unassuming that it's coming from China. You would actually think this is something from Europe. And that's why it's doing very well in Europe. Because the Europeans look at it and, there's no difference from what is being offered by the big heritage brands. So go to a showroom, Xpeng showroom, get one of the sales advisors to take you out on a test drive and give you an in-depth, much better explanation of what I've just done on what this car can do with all its features and technology provided. Okay, done.